It's market day every Wednesday at Robbie D's two big air-conditioned stores, North Side and South Side, and just look how much you'll save. Quality brush potatoes, 39 cents a kilo by the bucket. Brown onions, 49 cents a kilo by the bucket. Sugarloaf cabbages, 69 cents each. Tasmanian carrots, 49 cents a kilo. And on market day, garden fresh Brussels sprouts, just 99 cents a kilo, but only at Robbie D's. And reminding you, Robbie D's will be closed Anzac Day, but will reopen Friday with more great specials.
They're the contracts.
Well, that wraps it up.
You feel like a bite of lunch?
Only if it's quick. I've got a 2 o'clock.
I feel like a giant steak.
I don't want to spend a lot.
Come and help yourself to the best lunch idea around town. It's fresh fruit and salad, succulent seafood, traditional pasta, and juicy steaks. Everything you need for a great lunch. And it's all at a price that'll bring a smile to your face.
Rockhampton's flood appeal fund is $14,000 better off today thanks to the Caltex service stations in the city. At a ceremony in the City Hall this morning, the service station owners and company representatives handed over the money to Mayor Lee Taylor. It will be used to continue flood relief in the city. The money has been collected by the service stations at the Bowser, with 1 cent for every litre of petrol or diesel sold since February going to flood charity. It was originally estimated the appeal would raise $10,000. The National Campaign Against Drug Abuse says it will target young underage drinkers in its next national campaign against drug abuse. The group says many young Australians as young as 14 regularly indulge in binge drinking without realising the consequences to their long-term health.
The nationwide campaign against drug abuse has already conducted an Australia-wide campaign to convince young teenagers not to smoke. Now it's turning its attention to the very considerable problem of underage drinking. It says while there's a definite safe drinking level, teenagers tend to drink sparingly, if at all, during the week, then binge at weekends. Campaign organisers say health authorities consider there is a safe drinking level. 4 standard drinks a day for men, 2 for women. But they say the young bingers often consume as much as 8 beers and 7 spirits in a single sitting without realising the disastrous consequences.
Those effects in terms of long-term brain damage, as well as short-term effects such as drinking and driving or getting in a car with somebody who's been drinking too much, can be fatal.
The campaign against drug abuse is currently preparing a nationwide campaign in a bid to change underage drinking habits, to re-educate the bingers about their lifestyle.
What we're trying to do at the Drug Offensive is re-educate those kids, if you like, and show them that that really isn't that smart, and some of the consequences, social consequences as well as health consequences, can be very significant.
And the campaign hopes new alcohol labelling laws, which come into effect next year, with recommended safe drinking levels, will at least have some effect on the nation's drinking problem.
Russ Street, Win News.
Primary producers have welcomed the latest round of concessions on registration of farm vehicles. The relief package has been announced by State Cabinet at Charleville.
Reaction to yesterday's farm aids package by primary producers has been lukewarm. The Cattlemen's Union has described it as pathetic and just a band-aid measure. However, some producer groups have had more time to study the details, and farmers should be happy at the changes to registration. As from July the 1st, special yearly permits at reduced fees will be available for farm vehicles to cross roads and travel limited distances from properties. The ceiling will be removed on the 75% concession on registration fees for farm vehicles, and primary producers will be able to convert full registration to quarterly periods so vehicles can be used for commercial activities. The producer groups say, although only a small concession, it will help.
Well, I see that with the way the recession is in the cattle industry and the rural industry, that any concession to the rural producer is a help.
Transport Minister David Hamill says the concessions were developed with the advice of the NFF and other farm groups. Alistair Frew, Win News.
Philippe Jonté is set to bring to Rockhampton audiences a puppet show unlike any other. The company is in Rockhampton for 2 nights as part of a 7-month nationwide tour.
It's hard to tell the performer from the puppet in Philippe Jonté's new show, Drifting. And it's hard to tell reality from illusion. And that's the whole idea, according to one member of the troupe, Christian Carignon.
You are like in a dream, your own dream, and the story, you pull the story in your own dream.
The team of 5 puppeteers, performers and 2 technicians have created a magical fantasy in combining mime, dance, puppets, incredible special effects and lighting. It's been called Theatre of the Absurd and Theatre of the Bizarre, but one thing's for sure, it's not your average children's puppet show. The show is aimed at an adult audience who are prepared to think a little and who haven't left their imaginations behind. The show is on at the Pilbeam Theatre this Tuesday and Wednesday night. Kathy Burke, Win News.
My imagination's working overtime, Gary. I don't know about yours.
I don't know about that, Bruce. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Bruce.
How's the sport shaping up?
Yes, Bruce. Well, young Central Queensland tennis players try for regional team.
With a Rock Savings investment account, you get high interest, between 10 and 12%, as well as passbook convenience, quarterly interest calculated daily, and your funds at call after 30 days. And that's very good news for pensioners too.
For the best range of photographic accessories in Rockhampton, it's the City Camera House and Video on the Mall. They have cameras galore, from pocket size to 35mm autofocus reflex, plus lenses and accessories, binoculars, video cameras, and a large range of camera and video gadget bags. Even picture frames for those treasured memories, and professional advice you can depend on, backed by over 25 years in the business. So make a snap decision and check out the City Camera House and Video on the Mall.
Nissan Pulsar Sport with $2,000 of extra value. Go for it.
It's a Nissan, it's a Nissan, it's a Nissan, it's a Nissan. That's my car.
Coming soon to Rockhampton, Beef 91, the Australian Beef Cattle Expo, featuring Australia's largest stud cattle show and prime cattle championships. An international conference, displays, property tours and a host of gala social events. It's the complete cattleman's event. Beef 91, the biggest and best beef expo yet. Rockhampton, April 29 to May 4. For information, telephone Beef 91 today, 079 222195.
Rush into Solly's now for this week's specials. Beaded seat covers, I don't believe it, only $5. Men's and ladies track pants with pockets, only $7. The Super Chamois, only $2. Oven mitts, hundreds of designs, only $2. NBL sports bags, don't miss these, only $15 each. Lakes print boxes, out they go, $2. UHF indoor TV antennas, slashed to $15. Gift box cross pants, only $2, only at Solly's. The Kmart Plaza, Rockhampton, Wynyard Street, Gladstone, 7 days, Edgerton Street, Emerald, 7 days.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to sport. In spite of all the public rhetoric, testing for the use of performance-enhancing drugs by Central Queensland sportsmen and women appears to be non-existent. The cost and difficulty of testing for drugs in provincial and rural Queensland appears to have ensured any users have no reason to fear detection.
Many Rockhampton sporting administrators and players have no knowledge of drug tests being undertaken in their sport or in any other. Rugby Union supports the removal of performance-boosting drugs and recently introduced the possibility of testing junior as opposed to school players. However, it has not yet conducted any tests.
Well, at this stage, to my knowledge, none from a Rugby Union point of view. There may be other codes that have had tests done. That's not to say that the Australian Drug Testing Authority at some stage won't come to Central Queensland to test perhaps our senior representative players.
Central Queensland Soccer League Secretary Noel Ash says soccer has no testing program. University College of Central Queensland Athletics Club coach Leonie Williams says she has no knowledge of any athletes being tested during her 3 years in Rockhampton. A veteran of state, country and North Queensland championships, Williams is not aware of any athletes even being approached to supply a specimen. The position is little different in rugby league.
Not this year, no, I haven't heard of any, and I haven't heard of any in state actually, but you never hear of them when everything's good. It's only when things are bad, something flares up and they find somebody, they test him, and that's when they, you hear when you know where they are.
President of the Rockhampton Netball Association, Kathy Hitchcock, says in her 30 years in the sport, no players have had to provide a specimen. President of the Queensland Power Sports Association, Rob Stanton, said drug testing has never been carried out in Central Queensland, although it has been 4 years since the championships. Weightlifting has been identified as a high-risk sport by the Australian Sports Drug Authority. and visits were expected at selected regional events. Paul Williams, Win News.
40 budding primary school tennis players converged on the Victoria Park courts in Rockhampton today for selection in the Central Queensland team. The players come from 5 zones throughout Central Queensland. The CQ team of 4 boys and 4 girls aged between 10 and 12 years will take part in the state titles at Nambour in July. The Queensland side to play in the National Championships at Canberra in October will be chosen at the Nambour Carnival. The Central Queenslanders will be hoping to emulate the success of their 1990 counterparts, who filled 4 of the 14 places in the state squad. Outstanding Rockhampton indoor cricketer Sharon Daly is set to make her debut